Welcome to this quick overview of my Trading 212 portfolio for the month of January. What's been going on in the markets? If we have a quick look at what's been going on within the FTSE 100, it has been down about 1% over the last month, whereas we've seen the continual movement of the S&P 500 higher and higher, that being up just over 5% this year to date. Bank of England and the Fed have also both had their rate reviews and have decided to hold interest rates at their current levels. There is still speculation that things will drop, but let's wait and see. On my portfolio, we're down about just over 3% in the portfolio. I was up about 8% at the start of January. Now just into February we are sat at 4.71, but that is still up, so I'm still reasonably okay with that. Things go. Let's go and have a quick look at the pies and see, are there any of them that are doing better than others? If we have a quick look, we will see the growth portfolio, which just has Pfizer and Rolls-Royce in there. Rolls-Royce continues to just keep doing particularly well. Pfizer has pulled back a little bit. I was up slightly better than this 1.79% last month, but it's still in profit and it paid me a dividend this month as well. Each one of the ETF pies, so the Own the World, the monthly and the daily DCA, just have these 4 different ETFs in it, and this one is currently up 7.86%. And that I haven't been adding anything particularly to this in the last few months, because we are coming up on the 6-month anniversary of doing the monthly DCA versus a daily DCA. Currently, monthly DCA just winning. If you want to click the link down below and sign up to the newsletter, you'll get to see how things are going within this competition. I'll also be doing a video in the very near future looking at how things are progressing. But let's go and have a look at the one that I know you all want to have a look at, and that is the monthly dividends, and it is up 3.69% and has been paying me some dividends, which we'll come on to in a few minutes. But what have we got in here? We have Realty Income, still my largest single holding. The FX impact has really hit me a little bit on this one. It's sort of given me a minus 2.35%, but all in all, it is up 3.35 with just over 150 shares in there. I've got another pending order, as you can see there. I'm just waiting for that to kick in because we have just gone ex-dividend, and it is paying me currently a 5.57% dividend yield. Next, we've got the iShares UK Dividend ETF. Currently, that is up just over 4%. And ooh, look at this. This is a new feature that we have on Trading 212, and I really like it because we can now see a little bit about the dividends. I might query that dividend yield potentially. 6.28 seems to be a little bit high, but it is good to see that we've got new features constantly coming on the Trading 212 app. If you don't already have Trading 212, click my link down below and we will both get a bit of a kickback, and you could potentially get a share of up to £100. Just check out the terms and conditions. But I must admit, I am quite liking the new information that Trading 212 have added here. So you've just got things like assets under management, you've got the expense ratio, you've got the dividend frequency, the dividend yield, and then you get to see what the top 10 holdings are, what the sectors are that the ETF invests into, and then you get a bit of what is the regional spread on those. You still have a little bit on history, and you also still have the instrument details on there. Next, we've got British American Tobacco. BAT's currently down 6.1% in this portfolio, and it is currently paying me a dividend yield of 9.73. Bats has been having a bit of a hard time recently. We will wait and see whether or not there is going to be further legislation put in place that potentially may hurt some of the big cigarette companies. Next, Vanguard 250, that up just over 6%. What you will see is not all of the providers have managed to get pulled onto the platform yet. There are just, I think, just iShares at the moment that Trading 212 have got some of those extra details, but that is coming in just under the 4% mark on the dividend yield. Next we've got is Legal & General, up 13.7% and paying a nice dividend yield of 7.75. Next company we will have a look at is the big utilities giant, National Grid. Currently have 60 shares of this one within this portfolio, and we are looking at being just over 7% up and paying a nice little tiny dividend of 5.42%. Primary Health Properties has been hit a little bit recently over the last month. Something that I am potentially going to look at buying a little bit more into. As you can see, just up just under the 2% mark, but it does pay a nice little dividend yield of 6.6, and that comes in quarterly. Rio Tinto up in the portfolio. I think this is the best performing of my miners, and that pays me a dividend yield of 5.89%. Trig, I have added a little bit to Trig recently as its share price has been coming down. I'm looking at being about 7% down on this. I'm just going to keep cost averaging into it because I do quite like that 6.67% dividend yield that this fund has. GSK, there is a video coming out in GSK, or it may have just landed, but I'll do an AstraZeneca versus GSK video. You can see that this has been on a bit of a run over the last month. There are some issues around the Zantac lawsuit that may have an influence and may pull this share price down, but we're up almost 20% on this stock at the moment and paying a dividend yield of 3.66%. Taylor Wimpey, I think this is the one that is up the most within the portfolio. It's always a battle between this and Rolls-Royce. Rolls-Royce, when I take in what I have in the free trade general investing account from a couple of years ago, Rolls-Royce wins by a mile. I'm up about 250%. I bought in at a very good time. Taylor Wimpey, as I said, up almost 38%, and we're looking at a 6.51% dividend yield. We're into some of the slightly more battered miners that I have within my portfolio, looking initially at Anglo American, 30 shares of that. That's down almost 13%. And paying a dividend yield of 5.51%. I've then got Glencore, once again down this month by about 6.5%, holding 110 shares in there, and the highest dividend yield of the three miners that I actually hold at 8.15%. But just spreading out, sort of getting a bit of diversity across those different miners, because they all mine in different areas and also mine for different products. IG Group, this was one that was up and it took a massive hit last week, dropping quite considerably by about 7 or 8%, still currently up 7.36% and paying a dividend yield of 6.5%. UKW, Greencoat UK Wind, so this is the other renewable company that I have within this portfolio. It has seen a bit of a drop in its share price as well. I potentially will buy more into this because I am looking at sort of future-proofing some of this portfolio, and I think that renewables sector pay particularly good returns, looking at a 7.15% dividend yield at the moment and up 0.4. DS Smith, about break even, down slightly for the 50 shares that I hold. It's only a very small holding at the moment. I may potentially add a little bit more to that as we are down towards 52-week lows for this stock and coming in with a 6.51% dividend yield. And for a change, Vodafone isn't my worst performing stock that I have within here. It is down about 12% and it is paying a ridiculous 11.46%, and we'll see how much I actually got paid for holding that small amount of Vodafone. Then looking at ICP, the Intermediate Capital Group, it is been on a bit of a run again. I just wish that I'd put a little bit more into this when I first invested into it a few months ago, keeping the best to the last. In terms of performance, up 38.6%, and that is still paying a dividend yield of 4.36. So that's just a quick run through some of the stocks that I hold. Let's just go and have a quick look and see what dividends have actually been paid in the month of January. So first of all, I had £5.16 from the Intermediate Capital Group, then GSK paying £5.60, followed by National Grid, also on the 11th of January, £11.64. Then Realty Income doing its monthly dividend payment of 25.62 pence. DS Smith paying out £3, and that is what I have had in January. And then there's just a sneak at what is coming in this Trading 212. So I have had this account for this financial year. So just within these holdings, I have had £564.25 come in dividends. I've had dividends on a couple of the older platforms that I have held for a number of years, but that's quite nice to see, and I am just constantly reinvesting that in. If you're interested in seeing what's going on within the portfolio, I actually cover that in my newsletter, which goes out weekly, and you can get kept up to date with what dividends I've got coming in and also what purchases I'm making within the portfolios. Also, you get to see what I am consuming as well on a weekly basis. What am I listening to in podcasts? What am I reading? And what do I think may be of use to you to help further your investing journey and move you towards financial independence? Or why don't you go and have a look at this playlist? It takes you through some of the ETFs that I've been talking about within these portfolios. Thanks very much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Cheers. Bye.